Just seconds after that horrible, disappointing loss to Panama in the Nations League Semifinal. And the honest answer is Pochettino has a lot of questions to answer about what that performance was from start to finish. At the start, no central access, nothing happening, unable to build up. We're going from side to side. We're going from Weah out on the left side, Musa out on the right side, and just coming through from Ream to Adams, back to Musa. Nothing happening. No ability to get Pulisic into dangerous spaces. Josh Sargent standing there doing absolutely nothing whatsoever for the entirety of the time he was on the pitch, other than having one great opportunity to put us up early and not scoring from it. And yes, great save by the keeper. I think it was also a goal line stop, ends up off the post, a bit unlucky. But Josh Sargent, if the one thing Josh Sargent does is score goals, he needs to score there. And honestly, what a disappointment. It feels like Pochettino has brought the Tottenham in him to the United States men's national team. You know what? We used to put in these poor performances and come out with a win and be complaining about how poorly we played, but we'd be coming out with a win. But for Pochettino to do this against Panama at home in Los Angeles, yes, there was no crowd there, which is a whole nother disappointment. But to do this at home on a crisp pitch, it wasn't even an overly CONCACAF-y type of night with the excessive fouling and the flopping and the red cards. It was a normal amount of CONCACAF, but not an overly obsessive amount of CONCACAF. To not come away with a winning result there, it's absolutely unacceptable. And yes, should Matt Turner probably save that goal? Should he not give up a goal from that angle? 99% of the time, yes, I would say that. But you know what? We didn't deserve to win that match. And so I'm not going to blame it all on Matt Turner. Yeah, we need to upgrade goalkeeper. And I think we've all agreed that we need to upgrade goalkeeper for a very long time. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But Pochettino got this wrong every single step of the way tonight in this match. And we're going to go through the lineup and just talk about each player's performance and what went wrong, starting with the L of the match, Josh Sargent, who was just overly disappointing. And you know what? I wanted to give Josh a fresh start in this match. I truly did, because he's been in incredible form for Norwich, 8 goals in his last 10 matches, tied 4th highest goal scorer in the championship after missing almost 3 months of action. He's been Norwich's top scorer for the last 2.5 years. I think he has like 48 goals in his last 52 matches for them. Like, just unbelievable goal scoring record for Norwich. And yes, the championship, but nonetheless scoring a different catalog of goals, tap-ins, beautiful left-footed curling shots, lots of headers, really good aerially, doing all sorts of different things. But yet again, we saw the same Josh Sargent, who is incapable of adding to the play in possession. He doesn't show to the ball. He doesn't make runs vertically in behind to stretch the defense. All he does is pop up in the corners of the box, lose possession, recycle play, never make anything happen. And if you're going to be that type of striker, you need to score and be clinical. And you know what? Josh Sargent just was not clinical in this match. Let's just look at his stats a little bit. He plays 68 minutes, right? 2 completed passes, 2 attempted passes. I would fine with 2 completed passes if he attempted 9. At least he was on the ball trying to make things happen. No, 2 completed passes in this entire match. Only 8 touches in 68 minutes. In a match where we had over 60% possession, he had 8 touches. 2 of those were off of kickoffs. Unacceptable. Unacceptable performance from Josh Sargent. I don't want to see him play for the U.S. men's national team. I don't care the injury crisis. Patrick Adjumang, yes, he should have scored at least one of those opportunities, if not both, and he's going to hold some responsibility. But as the 6th striking option for our country, I'm not going to put the blame on him. His first big opportunity for the U.S. men's national team, I'd like to see him get the start in this 3rd place match, because you know what? He was working hard. He made different types of runs. He varied his movement. He was popping up in different places, used his body, his physicality very, very well. Josh Sargent just is not the level for the U.S. men's national team. And then let's talk about the issues we had in the midfield. So we set up pretty much in a double pivot in possession of 3-2-4-1. You had Musa was playing pseudo right back, Scally is playing left back, but they drop into this 3, right? Musa holds the width out here, Weah holds the width out here. The idea then is to play a double pivot here. So you've got your center backs a little bit more spread. You've got the ability for Ream to play it into either player here in these pockets. You've got roamers in the half spaces, and you've got width. Sure, that's how you play in possession in a 3-2-4-1. That is how you get your best players on the ball with players in front of them. Tessman, Pulisic receiving in between the lines, Weah holding the width, Musa holding the width, McKennie also popping up into these areas, playing nicely off into these triangles here with Richards and Musa. Adams standing here in front as a 6. But no, instead, we were completely narrow for the first half, lining up like this. You had Pulisic here, Tessman standing in between Pulisic and McKennie. So at all times, you've got 3 players who are 8 yards apart. So you only need 2 Panamanians to cover 3 U.S. men's national team players, which then allowed them to have this flat back 5 that limited Sargent to doing nothing. Weah and Musa kept receiving the ball out wide, with so far out wide and no one to play the ball into, and we continuously struggled to get the ball into central areas over and over and over again. Nothing. It was just ball out from Weah. Ream kind of stepped in here sometimes, came in here. Adams was here. Adams, Musa. Ream stepped back here. Adams came back here. Musa drove a little, came back out. McKennie, Adams, Ream, Weah, over and over again. And I don't mean to be repetitive, but Pochettino knew this going into halftime, and what he should have done is, and he started to do a little bit, but didn't really have them into the right formation, is he had Scally a little bit wider. He let Tessman drop into this position here, so he could receive here, carry, and spray the ball here. He's got Weah down the left side, Pulisic being able to get into more space. But it still ended up kind of just like this. And nothing happened. We could not get the ball into our best players. Pulisic got so frustrated by this. And so I'm calling out the entire game. Where is Diego Luna? Diego Luna is the kind of player who can come in where Tessman is, offer a different type of dynamic ball carrying. He's a chance creator. He's a risk taker. He can receive between the lines. He can receive on the half turn and make things happen. Maybe you try and get, Diego Luna here. You bring Pulisic out here. You get Weah out on the right side. You put Musa back into this more right back spot. Maybe into here. Luna's kind of picking up this space. This becomes the pivot. McKennie's able to operate more centrally. Just change things up. You get Adjumang up top. That's what we needed to see. But Pochettino makes he makes 3 subs. He takes Richards off because of injury, but he really makes 2 subs tactically as we continue to struggle over and over again. It's not like Panama adapted to us changing around. No, we stuck with what we were doing the entire match and did not attempt to try anything new. And listen, none of the players really provided any impotence. They were not trying to change the game in any way. Nobody brought any intensity to this match. And I was saying this on the live stream for those of you that were not there. I can understand if the intensity is hard to come by because there was nobody in the stadium. It's like playing a practice match. When there's nobody in the stadium, it's hard to find intensity. It's hard to find any dynamism and to make anything happen. But against a team that showed nothing all match, they had a 4-minute spell between the 11th minute and the 15th minute where they were attacking us, but nothing until the final minute where they really came at us. And to take no risks from Pochettino, take off Musa, put on Reyna, put on Luna, put on an extra attacker. Try and go win this game. Don't wait for extra time. Don't wait for a Panama mistake. You are the better side. Go win this game. You have players like Pulisic who are in top form. Get him into wide areas. Central areas aren't working for Pulisic. Okay, let's get him into wide areas where we know he's comfortable receiving the ball and turning. You know what? Weah did okay. When Weah got the ball out on this side over here and was able to actually isolate his defender, he did quite well getting to the byline, but he's not comfortable with that left-footed cross. We missed Anthony Robinson desperately tonight. There's no doubt about that because when Anthony receives the ball here, he's happy to dribble with his left foot and get all the way up this side. Weah, every time he received on his left, came back on his right. The defender was able to force him inside. There was nothing inside, as we know. The play stopped there. But when Weah received the ball up here, he was able to make things happen. So why not get Pulisic, your best player, into those areas? Pochettino was too risk-averse. He was not willing to try new things in a match where, listen, if it's a club, yeah, you go into a match like this and you've got a couple of years, you're in a project, whatever. Pochettino doesn't have that. He's got this match, which we've now lost. He's got a 3rd place match, which basically is a friendly because who cares if we come in 3rd or 4th place? So he's gotten rid of that. Then he's got the Gold Cup this summer and then a bunch of friendlies leading up to the World Cup. Like, he doesn't have the opportunity to take his time. He needs to implement change immediately, not just on the pitch, but he needs to implement change mentally. He needs to implement change in the way we train. And I'm sorry, this was worse than Berhalter. We didn't create absolutely anything. At least Berhalter, there were some frustrations, but we usually got results. To not get a result tonight is mind-blowing. It really is one of the biggest disappointments of the U.S. men's national team in the past 5 years because there's an expectation when you bring in a Pochettino level manager that things are going to change at a rapid pace. This is not some young, hot manager. This is a manager who's been proven to do things at the highest level. Yeah, he fell short at Tottenham. Yeah, at PSG, he didn't quite reach expectations, but he won the league multiple times, brought teams to the Champions League. At Chelsea, you know what? It took him a little while, but second half of last year, he really implemented something and brought in a team that was, in absolute disarray and got them, near a top 4 race by the end of the year and probably would have brought them further this year. And in 5 matches now in charge of the U.S. men's national team, there is nothing that's going to prove showing any positivity, any optimism moving forward. I'm not excited to watch the match. It's overall quite frustrating. I do want to talk about, a few positives from this match in terms of specific performances, and that's Tyler Adams, who was all over the pitch. He was incredible. Multiple tackles in transition, stopping Panama from trying to get out on the counterattack. Dominated the game, controlled the game in a lot of ways. 77 of 84 passing, almost 100 touches, 99 touches, a successful dribble, 7 out of 10 accurate long balls. He won his only tackle. He won 2 duels out of 3 on the ground. I mean, this was a vintage Tyler Adams performance. Never stopped running, never gave up, nearly scored an amazing goal in the final seconds to tie the matchup in the 97th minute, which would have not been deserved. Only for him it would have been deserved. But I think he did really, really well. And it's crazy. I was sitting here 6 months ago, 12 months ago, talking about Tyler Adams may not be in the World Cup squad. I've never been more wrong. Tyler Adams may be our most important player in the way that Pochettino wants to play, because if we are going to try and dominate possession and be, Tim Ream still at the back, we're going to need players who can stop transitions. And Tyler Adams is one of the best in the world at that, and I mean that. He is one of the best transition sixes in the world, and you can play anybody next to Tyler Adams in a pivot because of the amount of distance he covers and the amount of work that he puts in off of the ball. Yes, he doesn't always provide the most in terms of breaking the lines and breaking down a low block, but that's why you play a Tanner Tessman next to him. And listen, I thought Tanner Tessman at times showed what he can do, but he did not put enough of himself into this match. It was a little bit too lackadaisical. It was a little bit too much with his back to goal. This is a player who needs the ball at his feet so he can spray it with both feet, so he can play, balls, over the top. The things that he's so good at. Yes, he did fine defensively, I thought, but overall, a bit of a disappointment from Tanner Tessman. I think Joe Scally deserves a bit of a shout out. Playing at left back, not a position he's played at a whole lot. He played at Mönchengladbach when he first broke into the team, but obviously has become their starting right back. But Scally really didn't put a foot wrong. 74 of 79 passing, 6 of 6 accurate long balls. He won 4 of his 6 duels, and he was just in the right places. He did actually really well getting down that left side, even though he's not comfortable necessarily crossing with that left foot. He kind of worked down that left side more and more as the game got on. He got into attacking positions, won a few corner kicks, definitely worth a mention for Joe Scally. And then Matt Turner. I mean, I know I said at the top I wasn't going to blame him, but you're asked to do 1 or 2 things in a match like this. When you're playing against a team like Panama who's sitting deep, and you need to keep your concentration, you need to stay in the right position, you need to be ready to make that save, and he wasn't. You cannot give up a goal from right here with my cursor is you cannot give up a goal. That's unacceptable. That ball didn't even really go in the corner. Absolutely unacceptable from Matt Turner, and time and time again, just like we were talking about in the Panama match at the Copa America, Matt Turner let in a goal that he should have saved. And you just cannot do that at the international level. There are not enough matches and time to make up for these types of mistakes from your goalkeeper. I often call Tim Howard overrated because I think we as Americans overrated him for a couple of performances, but he made these types of saves over and over again. He really did stand on his head when he needed to. And you know what? I'm going into this match on Sunday, this third place match, and I'm not starting Matt Turner. I'm not starting many of the players who started tonight because they don't deserve to start after that performance they put in. And I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm not trying to be overreactionary to get clicks and to get views, but this was an absolutely unacceptable performance against a Panama side who showed no intention of getting forward. Pochettino is 100% at fault for this. He took no risks. He truly has brought the Tottenham out of the United States team that he instilled in his own Tottenham side, his own PSG side. And I was very excited by this Pochettino managerial hire, but he's got a lot to prove when it comes to the Gold Cup. Anything less than a Gold Cup win will be a huge disappointment from Pochettino. There's just no other way to look at it. He is going to have to use those 2 friendlies before the Gold Cup to and the training camp before the Gold Cup to implement his thoughts into this team. And again, I know we were missing Ricardo Pepi. We're missing Flo Balogun. We're missing Malik Tillman, Serginho Dest, Anthony Robinson, Johnny Cardoso. These are 6 of our best players. I totally get that. But look at these two sides. We are still by far and away the better side on the pitch, on paper, in the way we should be playing. It's unacceptable for us to come out of that match without a win. It just is. And listen, his misusage of our bench just doesn't make any sense. How can you not get Diego Luna out onto the pitch? How can you not get Giovanni Reyna out onto the pitch? And I spent the whole stream saying how I wasn't excited to see Reyna this and that, but to not even see Reyna in a 0-0 match, I understand if we're up 1-0 and you're trying to close out the game, you don't want to be attacking. I mean, even that I would have been frustrated by, because we're at the point now with the side that we have and the players we have playing in the Champions League every single week. Pulisic, Weah, McKennie, Musa, all playing in the Champions League, or Cardoso and Tessman playing in the Europa League. Like, we have players playing at this level. You can't be hiding in these matches. That's not going to be acceptable at the World Cup when that comes around this coming June. It's just not going to be acceptable from a fan standpoint, and it's not helping to grow the game in this country. And it's a big reason why tonight you could have gotten the admission for 2 matches for the price of 1 to go to both of these matches, and you have an empty stadium at SoFi. World-class stadium, and it's empty because people are not excited to watch this team, and Pochettino was hired to make people excited to watch this team. It's highly disappointing that we're having these issues over and over again. It feels like we're living in Groundhog Day. It's just the same issues over and over again. To finish up, I do just want to talk about who I think will be in that starting lineup for the match on Sunday, which at this moment we still don't know. It'll be Mexico or Canada. And, I think you'll probably see a similar back 3 here. Maybe instead of Ream, you'll see Carter Vickers starting. You'll probably see McKenzie instead of Richards. But I don't know if anyone but Scally can even play left back. So my back 4 is probably Scally, Carter Vickers, McKenzie, and then you'll probably see Marlon Fossey here on the right-hand side. I'm not playing any of these players who let me down in this match. I'm just not. And then I'm playing Stefan in goal. Stefan has been excellent in goal as of late for his MLS side. And then, Adams just played 90 minutes, worked his butt off. Give him the night off. He's the one player who deserves maybe a rest. Maybe you go, McGlynn and Tessman here in this double pivot with McKennie. Pulisic's going to want to play. So, you know what? You go with Diego Luna here in this more advanced role, and Adjumang starting. This is probably who I'm playing to play this match for the third place match, because honestly, let's see what Diego Luna can give us. Let's see what Tanner Tessman can do with a little bit more responsibility. Let's see what Carter Vickers can do. He's been playing for Celtic every week in the Champions League. They've had a great season running away with the Scottish Premiership. Let's see what he can do. Marlon Fossey, I've never been impressed by him, but we have a serious lack of fullbacks right now with injuries and whatnot. Marlon Fossey's name may get called on this summer. Better than Shaq Moore. Marlon Fossey's going to have to play. This is how I see us lining up, something along these lines. But overall, highly disappointing night. But nonetheless, we will be live on YouTube for the third place match, whether it be against Mexico or Canada. Thank you for everyone who was there on the live stream tonight. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. We do every single week. I am breaking down at least 2 performances of Americans playing in Europe with detailed analysis, pictures, graphics, the whole 9 yards, as well as an overall recap on the Americans playing abroad. Looking forward to the next U.S. men's national team matches, predictions, talking about tactics, all the things you need to know about the U.S. men's national team. This is the home leading up to the World Cup in 2026. So subscribe to Yanks Abroad. We're doing more video content on TikTok as well, Instagram Reels, Twitter, the whole 9 yards. We'll see you on Sunday for the third place match.